Senator Britt.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today and appearing before this committee. It's unfortunate that the policies of this administration have shifted what was a thriving economy just a few years ago to an environment of economic uncertainty and unprecedented inflation. Today, individuals, businesses, and lenders are all facing the challenges of the current high interest rates. We are seeing that in our daily lives across the board. Despite this, banks in my state of Alabama have remained resilient, and I am so proud to be able to say that. At the same time, that cannot be said of the banks that are represented sitting before us. Mr. Becker, I'm concerned with the lack of responsibility that you have chosen to take for the role that you played leading up to the failure of the bank that you led for the last 12 years. While your written testimony points to a number of issues that you believe are responsible, I think the answer to the question of what happened to your bank lies in the first sentence of the Federal Reserve's 118-page report. It states Silicon Valley Bank failed because of a textbook case of mismanagement by the bank. Mr. Becker, I believe that good management starts from the top. Given that you've spoken and spent the last 30 years really immersed in the banking industry and in this profession, you were actually CEO of this bank that grew to the country's 16th largest bank. So I think we can all agree that you're an expert in this field. Given your level of expertise in the banking industry, coupled with your longstanding familiarity with SVB and the individual client base, the risk controls, and the investments, it's hard to understand a scenario where you were unable to predict or see, or at least proactively consider what the impact of the changing economic environment would have on your client base and investment portfolio. Let me ask you this. At what point did you begin to see red flags with regards to the long-term stability of your bank?
So, Senator, when the two questions, right? So capital liquidity, as I think about it, our capital was very strong all the way up until you can look at, March 10th. And so that was validated by the regulators in several points. Liquidity is the other question. And so when you looked at 22, clearly our clients were impacted by the economy and rising rates.
So when did you see a red flag?
We saw in the first quarter of 22 would have been when we started to see a slowdown because of the increase in interest rates with our client base. So
tell me, what did you do wrong? In reflection, looking back over the last 5 years, and particularly the last 3, what could you have done differently to prevent this from happening?
Senator, I've thought about your question, especially over the last 8 weeks, pretty much every day. And, it's amazing. I mean, hindsight, we can look at the fastest rate rise
Absolutely,
in 4 years.
And that's what I'm asking you to do. In hindsight, what could you have done differently? We can have the best quarterback in the entire country win a Super Bowl. He even goes back and he dissects film to see when he should have stayed in the pocket longer, when he should have moved here. Everyone does this, especially the teams that lost. You lost, and you lost big. When you dissect that, what could you have done differently?
Senator, I think about the when we were making the decisions, so the investments, and when our team made those decisions, I truly do believe that we made the best decisions we could. So you think,
I only have a minute and 19 seconds left. Let's get to it. There is nothing you think you could have done differently.
Senator, if the...
No, yes or no? Is there anything you could have done differently?
If the team would have known it was going to be the fastest race in history, I believe they would have considered different decisions.
So you still take no responsibility for any of this?
Senator, I was the CEO of Silicon Valley Bank. I take responsibility for what ultimately happened.
Okay, if you take responsibility, then will you give that $1.5 million bonus back?
Senator, as I previously said, I'm going to cooperate with the process that
But I mean, will you do it? You don't have to. I mean, will you do it? Let's say they say, no, you don't have to give it back. Will you give it back? Because you said you care about your 8,000 employees and their families. You say you care about everything you've put everyone through. There are CEOs and banks all across this country that are having to pay up for your mistake. You said you went to Hawaii. Did you have a chance to walk on the beach, sit on the beach? And when you did you think about what you've done to these people? And if so, will you give back the $1.5 million from your FY 2022 performance?
Senator, as I previously said, I'm committed to cooperate with the process, with the regulators and other agencies that I know are going to be looking into that specific question.
Okay, well, I hope even if for whatever reason they say you don't have to, I hope that you dig deep and you decide that that needs to be somewhere besides in your pocket. Thank you.